Good morning. It's one of my favorite songs from The Greatest Showman. If you've not seen that movie, it's amazing and very inspirational song. I thought appropriate for this morning. So good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me. This is Jenny Norris. This is Homestaging Talk Show Live, and this is a weekly broadcast, unless we're doing other things that week. This is episode, I believe, 94. So as we get started, if you guys could let me know you're seeing me and hearing me, that would be great. We are streaming live on our Homestaging Talk page and also my personal profile. So they've actually opened up to two different areas to be able to stream, which is really cool. So anyhow, I've got a special guest today this morning. Htain will be joining me. So again, those of you that are tuning in, if you could please let me know you hear me because I don't see any engagement yet. So can you see me, Kevin? Okay, good. I can see him in the studio waiting to come in. Hey, Kat. Hey, Suzanne. So as we always do, we start off with general announcements, and then we're going to get to our topic. And Kevin is one of our featured speakers for our IHOSP Virtual Con Expo this year. He'll be sharing on understanding the Asian culture and Feng Shui, which will be really great. And so he's going to give us an overview, and we'll talk about other things that are going on in his business. And so, and what I didn't even tell him I wanted to know this, but he's been picking up a lot of design work, which is great. And some of you may also be receiving requests for people to help fix up their places that they're moving into, or that they're not planning to move, they just want a different overhaul. And so how that whole process works, because it's a new animal for a lot of stagers who haven't done a lot of that. So I wanted to pick his brain a little bit on that, if that's okay, Kevin. And so just wanted to get some general announcements out of the way like we always do. So last week, of course, we were able to share the best of home staging. And those of you that are looking for the site for where to find those, it's, I should have pulled this up. It's not the bestofhomestaging.com because that's where you submit, but there is actually all the award winners are listed and all of the descriptions of the awards are listed. And so I will get that and put that in the feed here so you guys can see that, and also post it on the IHOSP public page. So you guys will have that. And certainly you want to toot your horn and make announcements for those who were recognized in these wonderful categories. So congratulations again to all of the winners. Our conference, of course, end of September, the 29th, 30th, and October 1st. Hey, Catherine. And that'll be a virtual conference. We're working with a wonderful person to get it all produced. It's going to be very unique. It won't be just a bunch of talking heads. And we're doing our best to make it interactive and interesting. And it does go from 9 to about 4:30 every day. So all the sessions will be recorded, meaning that if you are not able to watch them live in sequence and so forth, you will be able to access all of the sessions on your own schedule, because I know it's kind of hard when you're at home and you've got distractions and so forth versus being physically away from all of that in a conference, ballroom and so forth, hearing and being around all your colleagues. So we'll do our best to make it as interesting and engaging as possible. And of course, our sponsors, we have some special things planned to help them get exposure, because we can't do this without them. And we greatly appreciate their support. The advanced stager training will be moving most likely to February. And we're working on a location and details on that. So stay tuned. I did want to give a plug, like I did last week, for June Carter for her IHOSP coaching program. She's about to start some new sessions. So if you're interested in that, you can go to the ihosp.com site and click on the coaching program information to find out how many spots she has left and the different topics she's going to be working with each week. They change, and then how you can register for that and sign up, because she's amazing. And so really excited for that. This has been our theme moving forward since, I guess, April-ish. So fear has two meanings: forget everything and run, and face everything and rise. And the choice is yours. we want to be able to face our challenges. And so, of course, this week has started off with some things that happened that I'm not going to really get into a lot of detail here, except to say that I am sorry for something I posted on my story that was then shared into a group where I am not a member, and I have been receiving a lot of emails of support and so forth from people that I greatly appreciate. And certainly if anybody has anything they want to say to me or contact me, you know where to find me. I don't have somebody who handles me. I don't have a publicist or a blockade. You can come directly to me if there's any concerns about anything I ever share. And I'm not the type of person that hides. So I don't run, and I do rise. And I'm, a person that hopefully people can see that I'm sincere when they are able to actually get to know me and engage with me and not believe things they might see online. I guess I'll just leave it at that. But if you have any concerns, you come to me directly. You don't have to go through someone else, or, if you're sharing with somebody else, that's a triangulation and gossip, basically. So, if you have anything you want to share, whether it's a critique or a criticism or anything else like that, know that I'm an adult and I can handle things that people say to me. And if there's something that you really have to get off your chest, please feel free to do that. Or if you'd also like to just message me thoughts about what has gone on. Certainly there's been a lot of people who have had definite opinions about how everything went down. And I guess I will leave it at that. But I am not going anywhere as far as my role and my commitment to the industry. I know that being out in the forefront does make me a visible person, and I need to keep that in mind when I am sharing things, because it's not, I can't just put anything I feel out there just because I might think it's funny, other people don't, and so forth. And there is a protocol and decorum that really should be in place with how things are handled, and that did not occur in this instance. So we will just kind of move forward, and I appreciate all of you that have reached out privately and also have posted on Facebook, and we'll just move forward, and I do the best I can. I'm not perfect. None of us are, and bound to make mistakes. I'm probably going to do something in the future that'll piss people off. I don't know. I hope I don't. But there's a lot more to the backstory that most people don't understand, and it's something that I'm ever going to go into publicly. But just suffice to say that there's a lot more behind the scenes. And again, I appreciate those of you that have reached out, and I value our association and our members and our industry. I love the industry. I work in the industry. We're one of the only associations where all of our leaders actually own and operate staging companies. So, we work really hard to continue to advance the professionalism of it and live and eat and breathe it. And so that is something that is near and dear to my heart. So I'm not just a figurehead that, once did staging. I actually still run a company, and it pays the bills, I'll tell you that. So it's important. All right. So I have our special guest. Let me unmute you, Kevin. Let me bring you in. Get you rid of this. Hello.
Hello. It's me.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Pretty good considering everything.
Yeah.
And good to see you. And I know that you've also, experienced some of the stuff I'm going through, and it's not a fun place to be in, but you move on and you have to rise above and take the high road.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's not a comfortable place to be, but you just kind of settle back up and you just kind of, move on.
Right. And the truth eventually comes out. So
it does.
It's certainly the people that have been writing to me, some of the things that they're sharing, let me know that they know exactly what's going on. I'm not going to say that what I posted, the story wasn't even a profile pic. It was a thing to my story that, in hindsight, shouldn't have done it, because it didn't realize it would offend people, and I should know better. And I admit that, and I acknowledge that. So I've already apologized and publicly and put that out to all the members and put that in writing so people can look at that and And then if people are going to judge that and say it's not sincere, it's a non-apology or whatever, I don't know what else I can do. I'm not going to, sacrifice myself or do different things. I don't really know what people expect outside of what I've already given, which is a sincere apology. And if they don't think it's sincere, then I can't really change their perception. No.
Yeah, and there was a story behind it. There's a story behind it. There's reasoning behind it, and I know that. So I mean that's to me. I'm like, this is just something that's been blown out of proportion completely. It's just unfortunate.
Yeah, and then so and again, all the messages of support and so forth, and even those people that are writing and saying, sharing things that are still critical of it, I write privately back to them, which is fine. I don't expect it to be all lollipops and roses. If somebody does have something they want to share privately with me, that's fine. I think the forum that things are done in is important, and the way it's handled is also something that needs to be considered. So, but I'm excited to have you on. And where are you are you in your office?
Yep, I'm in my office. Got my office manager to the right of me taking a nap. He may wake up in a little bit and try and cross through the front.
Exactly. Right. Our cat used to do that when he was hungry. He'd crawl across and sit on my keyboard, which is really funny, Oliver. So you are one of our key speakers for the designation. And our designation, and I know people might be like, some people might roll their eyes just considering what has happened, is the IHOP cultural diversity expert. And that actually was something that we picked before all of this came to pass. And when somebody wrote to me, and she said, this person, she goes, that was a pitch perfect reply in my mind to what has happened to you. Exceptionally honest and well written. Seems everyone who has been hurt in the past is feeling overdue, but has unintended consequences. I don't like the cancel culture censorship that is being tossed about as some sort of justice bomb. You don't have to, they can say anything they want because you don't have to face the person to do it. You're doing a great job. Keep up the fantastic work. Hope to meet you in person one day. And so people don't have to agree with what happened, but I think the method and the way it's handled is really important. And so the cultural diversity expert, we selected that when we made our announcement for the conference. And then everything has kind of come. You got the BLM, Black Lives Matter movement, and all of the social justice for that. And then, all of the, you have got COVID. That's kept us
very apropos to the time.
Yeah.
Very apropos.
Right. And so we had selected that without knowing all of this was coming. And so obviously, all of us need, education on it, including me. And, I'm really looking forward to learning how to interact with other cultures. And I don't use the word races, although, because I heard it was Martin Luther King's, it's either his granddaughter or his niece or something like that. She said that we're all part of the human race. I thought, well, that's interesting, because I heard her on a radio show. But we have different cultures and different ethnic backgrounds. And so being able to understand how to work with those people and the nuances and so forth. And maybe we will put it in because of the what's at the forefront in society today with all of the, issues, is some of the sensitivity things that people need to know about. Because somebody could post something innocently and then it's seen as offensive. And that's, I'm one of probably millions of people who've done that. It doesn't make it right. But the fact is there wasn't any maliciousness behind it, but it doesn't make it right. And so being able to understand how to avoid that, or just, but also to work with the other cultures and so forth, to have them included so they don't feel like they're like this other entity. Like it should just be one industry family. And I always said that I don't think in our industry that we have a lot of discrimination going on, at least, as far as like people not being hired because they're a certain ethnic background, or male versus female, or their gender orientation. I don't think that happens that I'm aware of. Certainly if that is something that's happening, I would want to know about it, because, we can, as an association and an organization, help help formulate something to help prevent that. And, but I know you've experienced discrimination.
Yeah.
I have not to the degree you have for your issue, for who you are as a woman, being paid less and also being sexually harassed and on the job. This is back before the Me Too movement years ago. And a lot of people came out with their stories during that. And that kind of started this whole don't hide the shame or whatever it is. Don't hide from that, but put it out in the forefront. And then you recently had, some ugly things happen to you as well. And so there's just, I don't know what's wrong with people, that feel the need to say such negative things and be so hateful. Because
I think
it's
it's
not
the
right.
masks. I think the masks are depleting oxygen in people's faces and in their brains, and it causes them just to say awful, awful things and hiding behind the mask. It's like the new computer. They can just say whatever they want to say, and it just comes out vile, and you're just like, I just woo, erase.
Yeah. And I think people are very stressed out about, the virus, the lockdowns that are still in place, the lack of a job, the lack of money, that all kind of feeds into stress. And then it makes people respond and react. And then they're pointing fingers. People want to blame this person for, they're behind the whole virus. It's all their fault. And it's like, there's not one person that you can point to that's like, that caused this whole thing to happen. I think it was intentional. That's why I won't go off on my conspiracy theory thing this morning, but I don't think it was an accidental virus. And I think there are people behind it that should be held accountable. However, in our country, there isn't one person that's like, that person messed up and therefore everything's screwed up. It's a collective effort. And I feel like because we've never experienced this before in our lifetime, the governors and mayors and leaders and so forth are doing the best they can with the knowledge they have. And I just hate that it gets political. And of course, we're in an election year, so that makes people even kinder.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think, it's just, the word grace comes to mind. And then I have, an app that shows up. It's a Bible app. So the verse of the day today, this is ironic or appropriate. So I know God is listening. Don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will bring its own worries. Today's trouble is enough for today. It's actually, that's Matthew. I can't read this. Matthew 6:14, I think. And I thought, and that showed up, and I thought, okay, I feel like, is God making a joke to me, or like, saying just, don't worry about tomorrow. Today's troubles are enough. And I'm like, you're right, because if I try to take on any more, I might not ever get out of bed. So you have those thoughts, like, I don't feel like that's sign. I don't want to adult today.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel sometimes too. Like, I will get more like, this is very comfortable. I think I'm just going to stay here all day.
Well, yeah, and I've never been a person to hide. I mean, people know exactly what I feel or think because I'm a direct person. And if I make a mistake, I'll admit it. And then hopefully, there's a thing called forgiveness and grace, and people hopefully, allow that to happen. And if they don't, then there's some other underlying
issues on them. There's issues on them in that case. Believe me.
Yeah. So anyway, so it's just sort of funny that popped up today, and I'm not making light of the situation. But I have to somehow add a little bit of levity, because otherwise, I'll have, it'd be very hard to function. And there's a lot of people counting on me. So, in my family, and, I've got a lot going on too behind the scenes. So, and anyway, so just wanted to kind of put that out there. And I know that it's a sensitive issue, just the whole thing with, running a business and, being out in the public eye, and yet nobody should, like, as far as it comes for business, whether you're male, female, whatever race or ethnic background people are, they should not feel like they're not going to get hired or be in fear of getting business or being discriminated against. And so that's something also that Deborah Plowden is working on with the Staging Industry Diversity Coalition. And I had actually a couple people comment, like, there needs to be more women of color in leadership. And I fully agree. So volunteer, step up. We're not an association, and to my knowledge, the others don't go solicit, because I don't want to feel like the people are a token minority. You know what I mean? I don't want them to feel that way. If there's something that they feel they would like to contribute.
Well, according to me, I think. Oh wait, I'm the only man of color on our board.
You are.
Yeah.
And then Deborah's on there, but
Deborah's on board now too. So now we have two. Yeah. So we need a lot more rainbow colors. Yeah,
we'd love that. And so just a matter of people that if you feel that you'd like to serve, that we have a lot of chapter leaders who are minorities, so that we do a good job, I think, in that realm. But it's you have to give up your time, so it's not just like you're a picture on a website, you don't do anything, and you're just like a token minority on an association, that doesn't serve a purpose at all. It's actually, I think it's demeaning
Yeah.
I would never do that to somebody. So if there's something that is, you have an idea, or you want to be part of the association, if you want to help with the SIDC.
Yeah, join in. Come on.
Or
Now's
if you
the
want to
time.
speak at the conference is over, you just have to step up and volunteer, because we'd love to have a more diverse representation. However, I put that responsibility on the people who are in the industry, who are the minorities. And if you don't see yourself represented, it's not, to me, it's not enough to say we're not there. It's like, well, what are we going to do about it? Can you recommend somebody we should speak to? Are you willing to step up and be part of the organization, whether it's in a chapter or then at the international level? So all you got to do is just let us know, because we fully welcome that. We do have, our sister association is very diverse, and in Europe, people from all different backgrounds. We're opening up Brazil with Paloma Harrington, and she's from England and she's Polish, but she's from Brazil, so she's got this this interesting mix. So it's just a matter of stepping up. We're going into France, and so we've got people working on that. So we're expanding into other countries, and we don't speak. I did take Spanish in high school and elementary school, but I'm not fluent, and so there's a certain language barrier that if we want to get into these other countries and help them grow, we need people who speak the language.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got Mexico and Peru and Argentina.
Ambassadors.
Yeah, we have all these people that have joined IHOSP, and then our stuff's in English, and so they try to pick their way along, and we can translate things for them, and that's how you get involved. Or if there's an initiative, I've already given one scholarship to a person of color who wanted to take a staging course and financially couldn't afford it, and so we are giving scholarships for that, because that's something I can do. I can help people get into the industry who maybe financially it is a blockade for them, that they can't afford to take a class, but they really have a desire and a passion. And when that's made clear to us, it's like, that's something I can do. So anyway, I'm just going to kind of challenge people that you want to see more of you represented. Please volunteer, step up, contact us. Let us know if you have ideas for special programs or ways that we can engage with the minority communities more, or just minority individuals in the industry, because I don't want people to feel like it's a bunch of white talking heads at conferences, or that they don't see themselves represented. And honestly, I don't look at skin color or even race or sex when people submit a topic. I look at the topic and I see, is that a topic that people are interested in? And we put out, these are the things our members have said they want, so please submit in these categories, and then people do that. And so I don't look at who it is. I don't get an email and go immediately look at their profile. Are they a woman or a man? How old are they? Are they white or black or Mexican or whatever? I don't look at that. It's just basically, this is a great topic. They're qualified to share on it. And then that's why they're selected. Yeah. So that's why they get selected. And as I believe it should be, I don't think it should be based on any other factors. It should be based on your expertise and something that a value that you have to share that other people would want to learn about. And so that's really the goal of our events and education. Kevin has been, you've been doing, Feng Shui, for example, goes back to 2000. Didn't you do something like in 2010 at one of our conferences? You presented on this topic at a roundtable.
Actually, I've never been able to.
You did a roundtable.
To be very honest, this is the first time on the platform that I've actually been able to, and I've been wanting to speak about this forever. And this is the first time that somebody has allowed me to come in and talk about commonalities between home staging and Feng Shui. There's lots of commonalities depending on the house that you choose. And there are just so many things that we can learn and we can just take into consider. Feng Shui basically is superstition. But there are certain kind of things that make obvious sense. Like, you don't want to sleep underneath a beam. You don't want to intersect the bed. Certain types of water areas, and you place them in your house, it could either spell great fortune, or it can mean tears coming down the side of your house, which means sadness. So there's
Like,
so many things that you can do with feng shui and staging, and I've been waiting to talk about this for years, but I've always been, every time I brought it up, it was always like a no, 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 we're not going to talk about that. And this is back before you took over. So
yeah. Well, I mean,
now that's
I think
happened. Now we
early on, I
finally have the
remember.
opportunity to do it.
I think the first or second conference I went to, this gal Shauna Anderson did a session on feng shui. I still have the notes from it, back probably 2004, and the yin and the yang and so forth. And so she did a topic on it. And then you're right, there wasn't any other discussion of it. And depending on where people live, I mean, there are areas of the country where people walk around with the bagua when they come in, and they're going to look for the parts of the house and where's the money room and so forth. And simple tips I think can help. And it's certainly, if people are in areas of the country where that is an issue for the buyers, it's something we can't ignore. There's fixes for, like, if there's parts of the house that are missing as far as how the builder built the house. We can't bring a construction crew in, but there's fixes. And even something like, and tell me if this is right or not, if you hang a picture over the headboard of a bed and it's a water picture, that's bad, because the people supposedly when they're sleeping will feel like they're drowning.
Yes, it spells tears. It spells literally tears. Or you don't want to sleep with a mirror facing across from the bed. Mirrors or reflective surfaces like televisions or anything else, in their mind, spark infidelity.
Oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, interesting.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
All the people who've ever had anybody cheated on me be like, did I have a mirror across my bed or the television? That's why that happened. How about mirrors on the ceilings people put in? That's probably really bad.
That's very bad. Yeah.
Well, we know people who put mirrors on the ceilings aren't in a committed relationship most of the time. It's a party pad, probably, right? I don't want to overgeneralize, but I'm just saying. So it's going to be a really interesting topic. And then understanding, even working with the Asian culture, when we lived in California, Sacramento had a huge influx of Russians who came over escaping persecution, and they settled in the Sacramento area. And of course, the Bay Area had a huge volume of Asian. They also had the East Indian. They had the Vietnamese. So there's these little pockets of ethnic groups. And when I've taught around the country, and like, from the airport, I don't usually rent a car. I usually get a cab or an Uber. And the person who picks me up, it's always like a particular group, and it's like, how do they know to come to this part of the United States? And they must get do their relatives all send out, like, come and settle in Pittsburgh or come and settle in
and like Detroit, Michigan, or something else like that. Yeah, that's typically what happens. They come to San Francisco, and it's a very safe place. It's where families usually, or a dynasty family, moves into the area, and people know that to follow that dynasty family because there's going to be good fortune and good auspicion to follow along with them. So that's how it happens. It's all about the auspiciousness or inauspiciousness of the family, of the unit, of the energy. Right. How good luck is it, and how bad luck is it. And that's how it will follows people to create communities, literally communities based off of all of that. It's amazing.
And I remember staging, doing consultation for a family, and they were Chinese, and they didn't speak English very well, or even really at all. And they had all the, red is a very popular color, and they had a lot of the, Chinese lettering and different things in there. And so this was years ago. I remember walking in and thinking, like, I don't know the significance of any of this. And I was, like, am I going to offend these people if I tell them they need to paint or take these things down? How do I handle this without hurting their feelings? And then they were chatting with each other in their language, so I didn't know what they were saying. And so, your natural assumption is, are they talking about me? Or are they happy with what I'm saying? You just don't know, because they don't. The
answer is yes, they're talking about you.
Of course. One of the funniest movies was, what movie was it that she speaks fluent Japanese? Oh, I know. And it wasn't a movie. This was actually real life. One of my friends from back in California years ago, she got in an elevator with Japanese businessmen, and she's this blonde and, boobalicious person. And so she's in the elevator, and they start talking about her in Japanese, and they don't understand. They don't realize that she's fluent. And so they're talking about her body and different things. And so she turns to them as they're ready to go. She says to them in fluent Japanese, "I'm sorry, can you please tell me what time it is?" And then she walked off the elevator.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but those are the kind of the nuances that we need to know. Not even just the Asian. We have Deepti's going to talk about the East Indian culture. We've all, if you've been in business any length of time, we've all walked in to houses, and they might have faith-based things on display. And we don't, often understand what those are, the significance, or what their rituals might be. And so telling people to just put all that stuff away, that could be offensive to them. So we need to understand how to handle those tactfully. What are some suggestions for dealing with clients that might have shrines set up? And, because my
I
faith.
work with a lot of those. In fact, my design client has one as well too. We did staging for her first, so we minimized. And then all of a sudden we moved to our new place and we took her to a new home, and then we maximized. So that's really what it comes down to. You can still do the same thing, but you can minimize, and then you can maximize during the time that you need to do it. Just keep out the basic things, and you just put them in a corner, and and you can stylize it very, very well. Putting the things in because it's in Feng Shui. It's a good natural order of where you put the orange versus where you put the incense sticks and everything else. It looks like it fits in very, very nice into that one corner with the light fixture there, and you just minimize it.
Right.
Yeah, just minimize it for a little bit for the sale.
Yeah, and these are all the things that a lot of people we're not aware of because we don't practice that religion, or we just haven't encountered it. Maybe it's not really prevalent in where we live. And so, but it's important to know and understand so that when we do work with the client, we can come from a place of empathy or knowledge or compassion or whatever, saying, we know this is important to you. I understand this about this, whatever the display is or their faith. You don't have to become like a Bible scholar or a Hindu scholar or whatever, but you should have enough knowledge that you don't come across as ignorant, because then that's when we risk offending people and saying the wrong thing. And of course, we're there representing the real estate agents, and so they're counting on us to be able to handle these things. And so I think your topic in particular is huge, because the Asian population in the United States is very large, and I know there's some parts of the country where there probably isn't a huge representation, but by and large, most metro areas.
The Feng Shui community itself is pretty large as well too. You don't necessarily have to be Asian to follow that. You could just be, anybody who just believes in trying to follow the principles of Feng Shui, and you've got like extra people on top of that. So there's a lot of people that, we want to show examples of. Did you ever know that when you open the front door and there is a staircase right at the front door that leads you straight up those stairs, that is a very, very bad Feng Shui thing. You may want to really reconsider moving the door, sliding it over a little bit to the left or the right, maybe changing the door orientation in those cases, because that is, to me, one of the more very dangerous things to do. As far as
if you couldn't relocate the door, what would be the fix? Would you hang something in like a crystal in front of the door? What would you do?
You probably would put the bakwa mirror at the front of the door, and then also at the top of the staircase, put a convex mirror to make sure you can bounce around the energy a little bit more, because it's going straight up those stairs and it's going straight out. So I've even seen somebody go straight up the stairs, straight into the master bedroom, facing the bed with the feet facing out the front door, and you're like, ah, like ghosts. So
yeah, and it's funny because the house that we're in right now that we're renting has the stairs. Right as you open the door, the stairs are right there. And so I think builders in general didn't understand the importance of placement of staircases and where they place things, how they orient the rooms. They didn't build houses like that, but I think a lot of builders in the last decade have caught on more. Like even like where the house is located on the street. If you have like a cul-de-sac, you don't want to be the one right at the end. So you want to have it offset. So you want to have like an easement
light
there.
To shine on the front door.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. And so they've gotten how they even position it. So instead of having the house like right at the end of the street, you off center. So the end of the street is just like an open easement between two properties.
Exactly.
And yeah, so I think there's a lot of just even logic. It makes sense just from a construct. I don't like, even though I don't practice Feng Shui, I like to learn about it because I think there are definitely some commonalities. But I just don't like the aesthetic of having a door, the stairs right coming out the front door. I hate that look. It's like you couldn't have come up with a more creative solution where to put the staircase. It's just it's a poor floor plan. And yet, there's dozens, probably thousands of houses, if not millions, that have situations like that. Our last house before we moved out here in California, when you open the front door, it had a sliding French doors that went out to the backyard. It was directly in alignment. That's also bad.
Yeah.
And so
all the good energy comes straight in and goes straight out. You need it to bounce around and meander through the property.
Right. So you could put a piece of furniture there, create a grouping, because it was a large space. So that's what we did, is we put furniture in place. But that was also, the builder didn't understand that wasn't a good plan. Like, you walked in and there was the room on the left, but right directly ahead through the big living room was this set of doors went out to the backyard. And they probably thought it was just a natural pathway, but it's like, that's not a good thing. So I think it's fascinating. I really do.
It's going to be a good topic.
Yeah. And Catherine says, being respectful when you don't know, ask. People want to be heard and they love to talk about what's important to them. Asking questions is great. And when we assume it makes sweeping judgments that we get ourselves in trouble. I added that last part, get ourselves in trouble. That's true. And sometimes though, I dealt with homeowners where English is not their first language. So the communication barrier is really tough. Or they don't speak English at all. And I remember
making sure you take your shoes off at the front door, making sure you wait till you're asked to come in. Those are proper things of just working with the culture, It's not a bad thing to take the shoes off at the front door at all. In fact, that's preferred. It's a little bit awkward when they take their shoes off, but you keep your shoes on and you're walking through and they notice they're all barefoot, but you're not.
Right.
So typically, taking off your shoes or putting booties on or doing something else at the front door, that's very appropriate for Asian cultures. That's their way of welcoming people into the property. Take your shoes off,
And that's actually, even from a sanitation standpoint, when you think about it, like, we walk around in our shoes all day, all the grossness that we pick up on the soles, and we traipse that through the house. Having a no shoe in the house policy isn't a bad thing. We have a sign on our before the kids go down to the basement, please remove your shoes, which everybody ignores. And that's where the carpets get so dirty. And, but I think even just from a hygiene standpoint, it's, I think, a really smart thing to not be having germs going through the house. But it's a cultural respect thing. And, we're taught in America, you come in, you shake, you lean right in. Hi, how are you? Grab the hand. How are you doing? And so being able to kind of hang back, maybe there's other cultures where they don't respect people who are quiet. They want you to be bolder. So these are things that we need to understand the nuances when we work with clients, and so that we can, get the results we want and help them get the results they want in a way that doesn't hurt their feelings or make them feel like they're misunderstood.
Yeah. You want everyone to feel comfortable. That's the best way to get the best result.
And so Leah says Vastu Sasha design as well. So what is that? Is that that's a type of design? So is that like Feng Shui, but that's a different type of cultural? It sounds East
sounds
Indian.
like it is to me. I've actually never heard of Vastu Sasha before.
I'm gonna look it up really fast. That sounds really interesting. Vastu Sasha, Shastra. That's a traditional Indian system of architecture originating in India. Texts from the Indian subcontinent describe principles of design, layout, measurements, ground preparation, space arrangement, and spatial geometry. It incorporates traditional Hindu and Buddhist beliefs.
Oh, there you go. So it's a subset of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I wonder if so Deepti might be able to share on that, or even Ravi, who's the keynote, Ravi Huti Singh, because he's East Indian as well. So thank you, Leah. That's interesting. So, we learned something new. It's the terminology, and I'm sure there's other
Vastu Sasha. Okay, that's
Shastra.
awesome.
It's SASHTRA is what I found online here.
Oh, okay. Hold on, let me see.
SHASTRA. Vastu Shastra. They have videos and stuff too. Yeah.
Okay, Vastu Sastra.
And like, which Vastu is good for the house? As per Vastu, the best and most auspicious direction and place for the puja room is the northeast corner of your house. And I don't know what that room means. So I'd have to look up all the terminology. So it's like learning almost like a different language, but it's also coming from a place of knowledge. Certainly if you're in an area where there's a large population of East Indian, and we have Aurora here, there's a lot of East Indian people that live there. So knowing, being able to get some education on that would be helpful, so that, if they do practice that or they adhere to that, then we don't come again from a place of ignorance. We can at least speak somewhat intelligently about it. And there's just a wealth of knowledge to learn in these different topics. So, but I'm excited to hear you share, to have you share. So he's going to be on October 1st, which is Thursday, October 1st. And so he'll be sharing as part of the designation. So again, we're the only conference that actually gives out a educational designation every year. And we pick it in advance, as far as what we feel is important for our industry and things we need to learn. And this has been on our minds for a couple of years. We did the luxury home stage, and we've done the investor home staging, staging consultant. And so we have courses on short-term rental and so forth as well. This topic, I think, maybe it's not as creative or interesting to some people, but I feel like it's really necessary. And then Deborah Plowden will be sharing on that as well. So we'll have Kevin, Deep D, Deborah Plowden, who'll be talking about Black culture, and then Robbie, who's the keynote speaker, and he, of course, is from East India as well. So he's kind of going to give an overview of, he calls himself a cultural catalyst, which I love that term, and he's a global ambassador. So really looking forward to hearing what he has to say, and that's all included in your conference ticket price. So October 1st, 9 a.m. And I haven't set the total order yet, but you have a bit of a longer session than the others because you're covering two different type of topics, which will be good. So let's talk about your design projects, because you have, with COVID, it's just kind of interesting how business has sort of shifted. And you had shared with me that for the first time in ever, or a very long time, you had more design projects than staging work.
Projects.
Right. And then, so you have this one
I'm doing a lot of conversion projects, so we're working on them, and they're going to be more like a short-term rental, and then we're going to convert it over into a staging project and sell the property. So everybody seems to be waiting until 2021 to put their house on the market. I'm not sure why, but I have 3 projects like that where right now they're just going to say, well, we're going to rent it out to some friends and some family, and then get it in its way towards get to stage condition and then get onto the market. And then I have 2 of them that just came straight out of from working with them from staging. Now they're into design now, and we're moving into them to the new homes.
So the one lady, so you have one she sounds like a dream client, because it's sort of like, do whatever you want. I'm not like total carte blanche, but almost as far as what is being purchased. And our vendors, if you're watching, a lot of business coming your way from these types of projects, which is amazing. So when, as a stager, when somebody says, because I just got a email, we need somebody to help us pull together a look for our condo we just moved into, and it's not one of those scammy people, because it's actually like a real person with a real phone number. Because I thought, since those people moving in from overseas where they need you to pick out everything, and then it's gonna be a scam.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah, so it's not that. And then I even have a gal with a hair salon who, where I go, she wants me to help pull it together. And I'm not an interior designer, and certainly I can help source things and come up with a look. But it's, when I stage, it's, we pull together the look that we like. We know it's going to help it sell. And that there's a process with that. When it comes to the design, I actually said to her, I know what I like, but I don't want to dictate what I like on you. This is your salon. So can you do you have an inspiration piece, a piece of art? What colors do you like? Can you send me some pictures of other salons that you really connect with? What is it that you want yours to look like? And so she wants it to be like, modern, like mid-mod, but also, really cool. And so it's just sort of like, where do you start with someone like that when they're doing the design, and they want you to source things and they don't have a clue about what they want?
I have discovered the power of Google Lens. That can really get you to find out what products you need to use, if they have a very specific one in particular. Other than that, I use my stager boards, and I go ask them, do you know, where have you seen this piece before in a bookcase or something else? And so I start doing research that way. I start going through my catalogs. You just have to know what type of material and furniture these type of vendors have and what's in the arsenal. and then whether or not it's a retail item or whether or not something that could be purchased wholesale. So that's kind of like the name of the game of really quickly figuring out, is this a retail item or a wholesale item? Is it something you get better here and there? So I just ended up that I put the picture up of the dining chairs then being for essential for living, which was like a huge like whoa, because they're local to me. So that was a terrific find for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that sometimes it's hard if they don't know what they want and they're looking for direction. One of the questions I ask is, how long are you going to be in this home? How long are you going to live here? And to me, if it's 5 years or less, then the selections that they're going to make with their, remodeling, paint colors and countertops and so forth, need to be something that 5 years from now I'm not going to be coming back and telling them you need to rip it all out, because now it has to be buyer friendly. When they're going to make that kind of investment, they have to kind of think, I'm not staying here forever. This is not my forever home. So they want to pick things that are going to be on trend and still appeal to the buying audience. And then the furniture, you're right, it's sort of like I can't buy a couch without sitting on it. For our home, John, well, I could, but John has, his back hurts him. So he has to sit on it and see if it's comfortable for his lower back, because if he sits for too long, his back starts to hurt. So that's always has to be a factor. So picking something out of a catalog and then not having the opportunity to test drive it, for staging, it doesn't matter if it's comfortable or not. It's all about what's the scale? Can I get it through the door? Is it the right, look for the price point of the property? Because it's not going to be something that's sat on every single day. And so that's also a factor. And it's just where people can begin to work with clients. And I know there's some DIY design courses that stagers have come up with where they, it's actually for staging houses. You give them the whole plan, you tell them where to go to get stuff, and they get it set up. So it's just distance staging. But I haven't seen a whole lot on the design side as far as how to help people make selections and so forth. And I'm sure Joanne Leonard-Weary, if you're watching, or Sandra, I bet this is something you guys cover. I think it would be beneficial.
We need to have a furniture finders group. That's what we need to have. Is have something like on like Facebook where there's like, if you are just looking for furniture lines and being like, you know what, this is my look photo. Where can I find something similar to that? That would be a great group to be part of, as a furniture finders group.
Well, there's actually an interior design group that's what they do. And I think it's pretty large. We could start one ourselves, but that's what they do. Is like people will go, they'll take a picture and go, who knows where I can get this? And it's just all for sourcing items. And so I'll dig up that because I belong to it. So I'll dig up that page and share it. But I think that's really helpful, because even like you posted that gold etagere thing, and I found the exact one, but it sounds like you wanted one that was bigger.
Yeah, really big. We're talking about like at least 36 inches wide by 72 inches tall. I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So we couldn't find that one, not quite yet, but we're.
It's funny because like you put that out there and people have downtime. I mean, like on Google, I'm like, Google gold etagere. I was like looking at the pictures, and so you had your own little research team going like, here it is. You could use this one, because I found the exact one. But then I'm like, well, he didn't ask for that. He wanted one that was bigger. And so, but I think that's a great idea to be able to help source things. And then also for our vendors too, I wonder, their catalogs are so vast. They're like this thick, and they're some of these lines can just be enormous. And so even being able to send something to the one you think, do you guys carry anything like this, and have them be part of the group too, saying we'd like to source these different things. Who has this? And they may even say, well, we don't carry it, but so and so does. And be able to kind of help them up, because they know their lines. I'm sure they keep tabs on their competitors as far as what they carry in their lines. But I think that would be really helpful. And so being able to, I kind of see an educational course or webinar coming on this, or piggybacking on what's already been done. I'll have to talk to Joanne and Sandra about this aspect of it, because I'm sure that they talk about color and placement and interior decorating and the trends for doing home makeovers. And so I did sign up for their 10 module course, and I still have to take it. I get a little reminder every week, like, you still haven't taken your thing yet. Like, I know. It's because I know it's people who have taken it. Linda up in Canada, I know she took it. She said it was amazing. So, and they're still offering that. So that's that education piece. So I think that's where I'm going to go pick their brain and see if there's something that they want to share with people, because when I don't feel confident or know what I'm doing in a service, I don't want to fake it. especially with someone's like design, I don't want to be like, oh yeah, I can do that. And then I'm like, I have no idea what to do. And it's very different than saying yes, like what Blair was to say yes and just figure it out for staging, because I feel like with staging, I understand that the goal and the process and who the target client is, but it's getting in the mind of the client who doesn't know what they want. I guess that's the biggest challenge is they don't know. They don't know. And so
That's
I'm
the
like,
biggest challenge of working with design clients versus the staging clients, because they always have to have this pass off where you have to have a like this, like, do you like this picture, do you like this item, what
right,
if you get it in there, it's not the quality they expected, something else. So that makes a challenge for to do design projects differently than staging projects, where it's just kind of like you have control over it a lot more. You can, your pricing's better. So the design projects really are not bringing in a lot of income per se. They're bringing in a lot of activity, and it's good to see that. But where I make my bread and butter truly still is of staging.
yeah,
It's always going to be a very big part of my company's profile, because I do make a lot more money off of that than I do doing design projects. Those pay me in my heart and my soul, but the staging projects are the ones that make the company work out.
right, right.
So
Yeah, and I know with like design, there's different ways people, charge for their services, which could also be a educational element that someone could share. I mean, I know either hourly or they'll oftentimes mark up the items they sell to the client. And I've always been like, listen, if I can get a discount and help save somebody money, I want to do a markup, but I'm not going to, that's not where I make my money. It would be on my time and expertise and keeping track of all that. And then the whole design plan, that element. So, but I think it's really interesting because I know that I'm not unique in getting requests from people to help pull a look together. Certainly I can, if somebody's moving into their house and we're just placing what they have and then maybe sourcing a few things, that's your boss is talking. He's so cute. Certainly that's easier to do than just a whole, like a blank slate, like come help me pull this look together. And then what's also challenging with the salon is there's already existing items in there. So there's some, I can kind of see where she's going, the colors and so forth and fixtures that she selected. And when somebody says, I just want it to feel really, modern and inviting and warm. And so it's like, well, those words mean different things to different people. So
yeah.
really getting him to kind of hone in. And to me, I'm visual. So if I could see a picture of what a look, oh, that's the look you're going for. You really like that look because does she want glam? Does she want minimalist? All that kind of thing. And so helping them kind of get some direction is, I think to me, that's the biggest challenge when they don't know what they want or what they want. Have you ever had a client where what they want, is like not good? Have you ever had to talk somebody down from
Yeah,
what they thought they
yeah. It's
wanted?
not good quality. You're like, no, you don't want that. That's gonna fall apart. You're gonna sit on it and it's gonna fall apart.
Yeah.
We're gonna stay away from those quality kind of things. Yeah.
Who are some of your favorite vendors for the better, quality pieces?
Well, I'm very happy with my essentials for living. Very, very happy with how that vendor performed for us. Diamond Sofa, of course, love them. Uttermost, I always get very good like side objects and accessories, mirrors, everything else from them. So I do get a lot of vending sources. I haven't really tapped into the area rugs yet. I need to do that because right now I've been still kind of doing the overstock thing, and that's only taking me so far. Now I need custom sizes to be done for area rugs. So
Yeah, a lot of the companies do that. I mean, I bought a lot from Dalen. I love their lines and pricing is, I think, very reasonable for what the rug is. And if you need to go up more, higher end, I mean, we have Karastan was a thing, Phasey rugs, we had them before, and even Syria. So those are the four that I know off the top of my head. And it just depends on the budget and what they're looking for. For staging, I like the Dalen, the impact rugs because they're thick, shaggy rugs, and they're just really plush. They really add a layer of elegance and makes things feel more upscale when you bring those in to a property versus just a flat pile rug. But they have some really cool ones that look like geodes, beautiful. They have some that even have it's a low pile, but kind of shimmery, just kind of a lot of just different colors. There's not really a pattern. And then they even get to the ones that are college themed. So people who are doing dorm rooms and things like that. I know some stagers are getting into that. They actually have all the logos or is that right for the colleges? It's not a logo. What is it called? A mascot or the,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
the
Yeah.
pennants.
but they have those for area regs, the colors, and they'll have like the helmet and the if it's UCLA, it has the UCLA name and it has the blue and the gold. And so I think that's really great because you could really customize something for somebody who's a big sports fan, or if they're using that. So they have a huge variety. And, we visit them frequently when we go to the market. And by the way, Las Vegas market, I just got a postcard from them. So they are having their market. You have to, if you're going to go in person, of course, you have to make appointments. But I know that there's still ways to definitely shop online and engage with the different companies that way if you're not able to get there in person. So, a lot of great resources. So keep us posted. I can't wait to see the pictures of the design project. So is this one that you're working on now? Is this one a put off until next? You're installing it now.
I'm doing all my design projects right now, and I'm doing staging concurrently. So I'm kind of burning both ends of the candle on each side of it, trying to do staging and then switching over to design and switching back over to staging. So it's been a little bit confusing.
And it's like
and a little exhausting, but I'm managing. I mean, it's better than having no work at all. So I'm very grateful for having the work, coming in, that people are trusting us, and we're not having any problems with clientele problems or anything else like that. It's all working out really well. So we're all having a good time doing it.
Which is good. And I've noticed, I feel like July was a bit of a better month than June, May, and April. Those 3 months, especially May, was a really terrible revenue month because people just were like, what's happening? We don't know. But the last 41 days, because I had to pull this for home purchase stuff that we're working on. And, being self-employed, the underwriters are always so very, very, very particular. But I just pulled it last night and I've made an average of $1,000 a day the last 41 days based on the income. So I was like, that's good. So I can show that to them that there's actually revenue coming in, and it may not sustain that pattern, but overall, we have, like this week, I think we have 4 or 5 stagings. And normally during peak season, we'd have, 8 or 10, even 12. So I'm not complaining. I'm happy for the business and that people are calling and they understand they need to get things staged. And I hear more and more, I've never had to stage a house before. These realtors, it's the first time I'm working with the stager. So when you hear that, then that's an opportunity to educate your client about how the process works in general, how it can benefit them. Because I don't want it to be a one and done. Like, okay, they did it for that property, but they're going to go back to their old ways of not staging because they think it's going to sell and they don't need to. And I've actually said to a couple of them, well, they say, I've never needed to stage a house before. And I'll say, well, you needed to, you just didn't. And kind of laugh a little bit. We have rapport. And there's, the staging helps the seller get the very most. And so we don't want to leave any money on the table. And we know the way the market is, houses here are getting multiple offers. However, ones that aren't staged, they're sitting longer. They don't show well, and they're being compared. And so I'm hoping that those people that are watching, are you feeling an uptick in your market? Do you feel like things are, sort of recovering? And there's still a lot of uncertainty out there as far as, we're headed with the COVID and of course the election and what's going to happen. Right now, interest rates are so low that is motivating a lot of people to purchase, because to be able to get a 3% fixed rate loan, that's almost unheard of. And some people are getting even lower than that. So it's a great time to buy a property and to be a homeowner because the rates are just extremely low.
They're very low.
And it's just a matter of, getting all the, ducks in a row. And but the lenders, I don't envy the lenders. I just feel like what was the industry? It was, I know, an appraiser. Appraisal came in and it's deliberately low. And so the lender goes, they're basically lowering the appraised value by about 20,000 on properties. And that's at least in our area. And I'm like, well, why would they do that? Now, we don't need it to appraise to be able to get the loan, but other people would. And so for these appraisers to not even go out to the property or to lowball it because they're being conservative, and I don't know what that's based on. Are they thinking the market's going to drop and they don't want the lender to get stuck with, a bigger loan? I don't really know what the motivation is behind that, but that's not right either, to deliberately lower. And I have friends that were appraisers and they used to go to the properties and they would go in person. And then when the whole market collapsed in the mid to late 2000s, a lot of the banks took over that process and they would just do it based on comps and looking at pictures. They didn't actually get in their cars and drive out and look at the inside, the condition, how it compared. They wouldn't go out, if it was a unique property, they wouldn't go out beyond a certain radius to actually justify a higher price. It was very frustrating. And so, being a seller or a buyer right now with the lenders cracking down on who they give money to, and I can understand, but if you have jobs and you show proof of income and so forth, that you're a good candidate for a loan, it's like ease up on that. And then people that are just don't go back to stated income. That was where we ran into trouble last time. People didn't even have to prove they had a job. They could just say, "Oh yeah, I make 100,000," and nobody checked. And that was extremely irresponsible of the lenders. And then that's what really led to the whole debacle with all the foreclosures, and then these people only put like $5,000 down on a property, a lot of new construction. So they just were like, "I don't care. I don't have any money in this house. As far as anything invested, I can walk away from my $5,000," and they foreclosed and left, the banks holding the bag on all these properties. But it was really, if you circle back, it was really the lender's fault, because they allowed these people to purchase these houses they couldn't afford by stating income. So I'm not saying that people shouldn't have to prove their income, but there's a point where it's like, if people make enough money and everything else shows good, allow people to be homeowners. And I don't know if I'm like preaching to the choir here, but it's a frustrating process. So it's a great time to buy, but it's also difficult for people who are in business for themselves. It can be challenging for sure. So
yeah.
But like you, I have a lot of people who are staying put. I think they're going to wait out the market, hope that next spring is a regular market, and also see what happens with the election, because that always has an impact. So, well, let me show everybody your fur baby, your boss. Is he nearby? You can hold him up. Is it Kuro?
He's just right here on my side, just being very, very patient.
He's so sweet. Your cat just love you. I'm jealous because I sleep with you on your bed. And Rocky, actually, this morning, he actually crawls. We leave his little bed on our bed, so he crawls up and curls up in the bed. But he's not. I want him to snuggle, and he's not doing that yet.
Hold on one second. That's actually Krista calling me.
Oh.
Hey, Krista. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm still on Homestaging Talk Show Live. Oh, okay. So
we're waiting for you in your room.
We're past our hour, anyways.
I think Kevin's teaching.
No. We pushed back the class for Homestaging Talk Show Live. Yeah.
So Kevin is actually
cool. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Bye.
So Kevin's actually teaching a class this week, the ASP Stager class, Home Staging Business Course. So you got to get to your students. They're waiting for you in the classroom.
Yes, they are.
That's great. All right. Well, have a great class. They're lucky to have you as their educator, their trainer, their inspiration and mentor. So thank you for what you do. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. Next week, we have another great show, and I'm going to look to see really quickly who our guest is. Next week, we have two of them who signed up. So let's see here. I have Hayden and Melinda, who'll be talking about their topic at conference, and also Gemma Hobbs. So I've got two guests for you next week, and we're going to be hearing from now until the conference. I've asked our speakers to come on and be a guest on the show, so you can all meet them and hear from them before the conference and hear a little bit about their topic and get excited. And so that's who we'll have on the show next week. So until then, you guys have a great rest of your week. And thank you, Kevin, for being on. You know I love you, and I'm glad you're in my life.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.